VOP. Stay tuned.
I am a friend of the microphone, Voice of the People TV. That name is unique, and the brand is very sweet. I like the packaging, picture qualities, camera qualities, and then of course, the quality of human beings that I see sometimes on your channel. I talk and get paid, and I look forward to being in your studios.
Oh yes, you are on to Voice of the People TV. Live here in Benin City, the cradle of black civilization. What are you waiting for? Tune in, bro.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
You've been wonderful all through the year. And this is from us, Voice of the People Television, saying Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to you all. See you at the top.
This year has been so amazing.
And of course, you know what time it is. This is Christmas, and it's Merry Christmas from here on Sports Republic Show on the Voice of the People Television. I am Afiz Ogubanjo, your host for today. Yes, like I said, it is Merry Christmas, yes, to all those that are celebrating, yes, the 25th of December. And yes, how many days to the end of the year? Just about 6 days or less than 6 days. And of course, it's been a fantastic year from the sporting world. A lot has gone down. World of football, world of athletics, we saw the World Championships. Of course, football, like I said, Afcon is currently going on. The World Cup qualifiers, we saw the Super Eagles, we saw the DRC, a lot, world of golf, people retiring from the sport. Even in the world of tennis, Battle of the Sexes coming up between the Kyrgios and, of course, Arina Sabalenka. And, of course, we saw Venus Williams also getting married. Fantastic, fantastic. What a year it's been. And of course, as we are celebrating those ones, we also had some few losses also. Don't let me say few losses, we had losses also this year. Important ones, most especially the likes of Diogo Jota of Liverpool, and of course his brother Andre Silva losing their lives, of course, in a car crash. Well, rest in peace to both of them, and also those that have departed us also on this earth. Yeah, welcome to the show. And of course, like I said, Afcon, yes, it's hotting up, yes, and of course, Matchweek 1, yes, it's gone by, and we've seen a lot. This Afcon has given us a lot to know, and much more to come. Trust me, the big guns have shown themselves. That's talking about the likes of Tanzania. I mean, the likes of Super Eagles of Nigeria. Yes, the likes of the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia, Egypt as well. But let's talk about the Tanzanians. Let's talk about their coach. Of course, before we go on, there are two more stories on the show. And he reflected on that game against the Super Eagles. It ended in the favor of Nigeria, 2-1. Yes, it ended with goals coming from Shemilogo Ajayi and Ademola Lukman. And Tanzania's coach, Miguel Gamondi, yes, he said he is pleased with his team's performance against Nigeria despite losing 2-1 in the African Cup of Nations opener. He's saying that he praised his players for surpassing expectations, saying Nigeria had a lot of possession, but Tanzania neutralized them well tactically. Yes, I will be doing this alone on the show today. I have my guest with me, or let me say, my man. Let me call him a co-host. He's my man, and that is Olamide. Olamide, you are welcome. Yes, we saw that game, Nigeria up against Tanzania. They got the Afcon campaign to a winning start, but the Tanzanian coach Miguel Gamondi is coming out to say that his team neutralized the Super Eagles tactically. Will you agree with him, or you just say the Super Eagles were poor?
No. I won't say his team were able to neutralize the Super Eagles, because we know Tanzania are a team who likes to play the game on a very calm style. They knock the ball around and just find a way to get past their opponents. But Nigeria, on the other hand, in that game, we were faster. So I think our coach was prepared for the game. Eric Chell was able to know what Tanzania's style was and was able to play the opposite of what they were doing. So I think that was what gave us an edge in that game. We could have scored a lot of goals. We could have scored more goals. We missed opportunities. They didn't see much opportunities, unlike Nigeria. So him just coming out to say neutralize, maybe just to, you have to just, say something to cheer your players up, to make them feel like, yes, we actually did well. Okay. We were not that bad. Yeah. They did well, obviously. But even that goal they scored was against the run of play. Nobody knew the goal was coming.
Was it against the run of play?
Somehow.
It looked balanced. It looked balanced.
It was not like they totally dominated us, then they got the goal. They were like just, they got to our half, played the ball to the left, to the right, then they crossed the ball. Then out of nowhere, the guy just, dropped in our 18-yard box. Then he scored the goal.
Okay.
Surprising.
Okay, Olamide. I have our guest, yes, joining me virtually. Pelumi Adeosun, yes, the sports umpire, the sports analyst himself. And Pelumi, good morning and welcome to the show. You heard what Olamide said. He's saying that Miguel Gamondi was just trying to, cheer his boys up. But looking at that game, especially from the first half, it looked like maybe they just settled back a little bit, allowed Nigeria to gain possession. But when they saw that there was no seriousness in the Super Eagles side, they came outside and came to play football. What do you think, Pelumi?
Yeah, well, good morning, guys. It's a pleasure to join you on
Merry
the show
Christmas.
this morning.
Merry Christmas, Pelumi.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you too as well. Merry Christmas to you. Well, I believe the major reason why the Tanzania coach Miguel Gamondi is saying this is because we failed to convert our chances, just like Olamide said. Had it been Victor Osimhen has scored those chances, Akko Adams as well, we'll probably be looking at a 5-1 or 4-1 victory. And I think that would not be close enough for Gamondi to be saying they kind of curtailed the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So I think we were our own biggest problems in that game. And that kind of gave the Tanzania coach a leverage. And for him to come out and say that the game was actually close and they kind of curtailed the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So it was all about the team not taking all of the chances that they got in that game. Yes, and I agree with Olamide. I think Tanzania's goal, it was against the run of play. They did not really threaten Nigeria. The only chance they had before that goal was that overhead kick, and it was far away from the goalpost, which Nwabali comfortably saved. And the goal was even some sort of defensive lapse, or should I say lack of concentration from the Super Eagles defender. They just played the pass through, and a lot of people thought it was going to be offside. And they eventually got the goal. But I think it was great for Nigeria to actually have that quick response. Like I said earlier on, I did believe the game had ended 4-5-6. Maybe we will not be here talking about Miguel Gamondi saying that the team tried to neutralize the attack of the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Pelumi, you said if the game had ended 4-5-6, looking at that game from minutes 1 to 90, do the Super Eagles actually look like a team that will score 4-5-6?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, Victor Osimhen on his own had about 7 shots in that game.
I rate him with 5. I rate him with standard 5/10 anyways, because I felt it was poor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Of course, I agree with you. It was not the best of days for Victor Osimhen. Not a good day at the office. He tried everything. I think the pressure kind of got to him. He tried everything possible to get a goal, but it did not eventually come. But then I think the chances came for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Samuel Chukwueze had 1-2. I think all of these also, we should give kudos to the Tanzanian goalkeeper. I think he made a couple of fine saves in that game as well. So the Chukwueze ball, the Akko Adams as well, the Wilfred Ndidi shot that he tipped over the bar from long range rather. So I think there were a lot of chances for the Super Eagles in that game. And on a very good day, a very clinical team would have scored about 4 or 5 in that game, to be honest.
Olamide, let me come to you. Still staying with the Super Eagles. We are going to talk about, the Afcon, Matchweek 1. We are going to look at the review. We are going to expansively treat it. But before we go there, we are talking about Super Eagles and Tanzania now. Let me switch a bit now to the Super Eagles of Nigeria themselves. We started with the Tanzanians. Olamide, looking at the team setup, the coach came with a 4-4-2 diamond.
Yes.
He did that in the game against Gabon and the DRC, playing 2 strikers, right? Akko Adams and Victor Osimhen. A 4-4-2 diamond, for me, is expected to bring your fullbacks out. Let an extra body be from one of the midfielders to support your defense line, right? Or you should have actually started with 3 at the back then. But I felt like, Eric Chel, what was he trying to do? It is Tanzania. Much respect to the Tanzanians. We love you too. But, no, seriously, Tanzania is a team that the Super Eagles should be rolling over.
Of course.
Looking at the world rankings, we are not where we want to be, but we are far ahead of Tanzania, right? So what I'm saying is this. Was it a case of Eric Chel trying to sit back and trying to respect the Tanzanians? But because I felt he should have come out all guns blazing. Chukwueze at some point looked like he was playing as a number 10. Ademola Lookman at some point also looked like he was playing as a number 10. There was no creativity coming from the midfield. And the fullbacks that were supposed to push forward, Zaidu Sansu was poor on the night. And Bright Osai Samuel on the other side could not even look like he could cross a ball. Now we are going into the game against Tunisia. Tunisia won their game against Uganda. We will talk about that. 3-1, played fantastic football. Now we are playing against a team that will not play like Tanzania. They will come at the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Do you still expect him to go defensive in this time? What do you expect Eric Chell to do? And where do you think he got it? For me, I think he somehow got it wrong. What do you think about his tactics in the game against Tanzania?
Well, against Tanzania, I think he was not all an attack game. He wants to attack, but he's also wary about Tanzania because this is the Afcon. I think over time, the Afcon has really changed that any team can just surprise you.
There's no small team.
There's no small team in Afcon anymore. So if you go all out to say, okay, yes, because Tanzania is not on the level of Nigeria, we know that for sure. Even by all parameters, that we are not on the same level.
Yeah.
But if you go all out too much, just look at the goal we conceded. Okay. Just a little bit of concentration.
Yeah.
They lost concentration there, and we considered that lone goal.
Yeah.
When we should have scored a lot of our goals, we were not converting our chances, which means that we had what we were in the position to hurt them, but we couldn't. Their goalkeeper made 8 saves that day. We had more than 20 shots that day, but we only scored 2. Yes.
Okay.
We had more than 20 shots that particular day.
Is it the ones that were going off target or the ones that were facing the goalkeeper?
Off target. Okay. We have more than 20
as
shots
expected.
That day. So as expected that day. So what I'm saying is that you cannot just go all out. That day we just need to at least win that match. We need to win. Now we have gotten the win. We can now build on that as momentum in our next game and say, okay, what have we done wrong? What have we been doing right? What can we progress more? So I think if he should play the same pattern again too in the next game, we just need to be very, very clinical, regardless of what pattern we play, either attacking or defensive. Just go there, out of 5 shots, if you can convert 2. We are good to go.
For me, I think I will still somehow stick with Gamondi. For Gamondi to come out and say this, it showed that the Super Eagles were poor on the night. Even with the 20 shots that you are claiming that they played. Okay. For me, I still feel like they were poor on the night and they could do better. But now they are playing Tunisia. Tanzania's next match is up against their regional rivals, Uganda, on Saturday. And they'll look to make their Afcon dreams come true. I mean, credit to Calvin Bassey. He locked up their danger man, their star man, their captain, Mbwana Samata, former Aston Villa player. And Gamondi's team has managed to surprise many with their quality performance against Nigeria. They tried. Honestly, they tried as against other big teams and playing the lower based sides. And Nigeria, of course, they're a traditional African football powerhouse. And Nigeria, on the other hand, the Super Eagles, they got a win, but they showed some defensive frailties. You agree with me, Pelumi and Olamide. And the Super Eagles will look to build on this win when they face Tunisia next. And from here, we now move on to Afcon in general. Pelumi, I want to involve you in this one. Before we start taking the games one by one, Olamide said something. He said there's no small team. This is the Afcon. But when you look at other big teams, that the class, the category that the Super Eagles of Nigeria should be in, being the African giants, the likes of Senegal. Senegal streamrolled Botswana. That is how you dispatch a team, that you get your 3 points against a team that you feel is below you. Mm-hmm. Tunisia also streamrolled Uganda. Morocco did the business in their first game, right? Pelumi, do you still agree that you are supposed to streamroll, the teams that are below you rather than respect them and claim that there's no small team when it comes to the Afcon?
Well,
you are saying it
about
in two
the
sides.
Afcon, I think it has. Yeah, I think it has majorly been about the big boys, the big teams, and they always come to the party. We hardly see an upset in the Afcon tournament. I think that's one thing about that particular one. And like it is obvious in this ongoing tournament, out of the top 12 ranked nations in Africa, 11 of them won their opening games. The only team who did not win was Mali, played out with 1-1 draw against Zambia. Yeah, so it has been about the big boys. Ivory Coast won, Cameroon won, Senegal won, Algeria won, Tunisia won, Nigeria won, Egypt won. So it's majorly been about the big boys. Yeah, DR Congo won as well. So it has been about this team, South Africa as well. So one way or the other, either a convincing victory or an unconvincing one, it has literally been about the victories, especially in this match day one. I think match day two is going to be somewhat different because some of these big teams are going to be facing each other. Nigeria, Tunisia, for example, Egypt, South Africa, Ivory Coast, Cameroon. So I think he's going to get a lot more tougher in round 2 of that one. But then, like I said earlier, it's still a competition for the big boys. It's still one competition where the big boys still tend to turn up the big teams. Either way, you will still see that difference in quality, especially for the big players. Look at the game yesterday. It was still Brian Mbuemo running things for Cameroon. Look at Ivory Coast. It was still Amad Diallo running things for this particular team. Frank Kessie, look at Ramirez for Algeria as well. Bo Salah for Egypt. So it is just one competition that the big boys still always tend.
In those names you mentioned, Pelumi, where is Victor Osimhen? Ijaya Olusosun.
well, I think Victor, like I said earlier, Victor Osimhen, it was, which is perfectly normal in football. Every day cannot be your day. You don't, as a striker, you don't get to put the ball in the back of the net every time. But then there are a lot of expectations on him. And I think I agree that the pressure is also on him. He has scored just 1 goal in 2 Afcon tournaments, which is not really good enough. I remember the conversation that has been going around Victor Osimhen being a world-class striker and all of that. If he does not get to do well in tournaments like this, I think that conversation will get to go down because a lot of people would not really reckon with him. It would just be that striker or that player who keeps getting goals, who get padding starts in games that are less important. But then when it comes to the competitions that it does not deliver, and a lot of people would just drop that eye concerning him. But then it is just match day one. He said after the build up to this Afcon, he said a lot of people did not see his effort in the last Afcon because he scored just 1 goal. Yeah, Ademola Lookman was our best player. Yeah. But then he also had some other contributions too. I think a lot of focus on Victor Osimhen.
Passionately running towards the defenders, giving the hold-up play, much like a certain Olivier Giroud at the World Cup in 2018.
I completely agree with you. I can remember the game against Cameroon. It was practically focused on in that game. And that kind of afforded Ademola Lookman a lot of space to even get a goal in that game. So it might just be the same this time around. And we could see that Osimhen is desperate to impress in this tournament. You could see him screaming, shouting, waiting for every pass, wanting to get on the end of every ball. But then I think he still needs to calm down. Most time in football, when the chances might not eventually come if you are very, very eager. But then if you keep it calm and keep your head cool, play with your teammates, then it would eventually come. Like I said, match day one out of the big stars, Victor Osimhen was disappointing. No doubt about that. There's no need to spare his blushes in this particular one. We are just hoping that it gets better from match day 2 and the important moments for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Absolutely. And let me come to Olamide. Olamide, before we now go to the games, let's talk about Morocco. I mean, we've seen the giant strides they've made. Over a decade now, their king has come out to say they've been preparing for this. They hosted the CAF Awards. They've hosted the Champions League, CAF Champions League. Their teams are doing well. Now they are hosting the Afcon and they still have more to host. In fact, everybody has said Africa is basically Morocco FC at this point in time, if I can put it that way. But let's quickly look at this Afcon and the records they've broken. They have the highest ticket sales ever for Africa and Europe in the tournament. 300 million euros in sponsorship over. Highest revenues before kickoff. Biggest total and average stadium capacity. Wildest global broadcast reach in Afcon history. Don't you think Morocco are making giant strides? And also, let me quickly give you this one. The first, they achieved a lot of firsts, and they have 9 world-class stadiums for an African side, not Africans. Every team gets its own base camp. We saw the Senegalese. We saw the way they did, their rooms. Each player had their own pictures by the bed. You will see what you have achieved. You will see your image. When you wake up, you have your own, bedside to yourself. You will see your image of you on the wall and say, oh, I can go on to this game and do this. I don't want to make shades to a certain African nation where 2 players will share one bed. I'm not going to that one. And all teams are all in 5-star hotels. Let's stick with Morocco. Like I said, for over a decade, in fact, close to 15 years, there was a time that Morocco were almost like off the face of the map of African football. But they were silently doing their thing. Would you owe this to their development over the years, or you just say they came out of nowhere?
No, nothing just
springs out of nowhere.
See, something cannot spring out of nothing. It has to build up over time.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about how serious the Moroccan government
Very
is.
serious.
When you have a government who are visionary who know what they want to do and they know how to get it done, who have this, who are ready to move with the way the world is evolving. They are evolving as well. They want to develop. They want to do more for their people. They want to be the face of Africa, because right now, when it comes to sport now, they are almost, I can't even say they are the face now. They are hosting almost everything. They have the facilities, they have everything. But you can't build all these facilities if you are scared of going out there, of getting kidnapped, of, bandits, everything, all these things. So everything, it all boils down to the government. Everything will be, the government, the how you govern the state will be the foundation where you now build the health on, the education, the sports, everything. If you don't have that base, there's no way anything can stand on it. So it is what the Moroccan government have been doing over time. And I think when it comes to those northern Africans, they don't think like the average African country. They don't even see themselves.
That's why people claim that they are not Africans.
Imagine
sometimes.
They don't see themselves as a typical African person. They are thinking like the Spanish side. They are thinking like Europeans.
How does the typical African person think? Because I don't know where you are going with this one.
See, I can say this categorically. Yeah. From what we have seen over time from African leaders, from majority of them, they think about the now. Now, what can I get out of this thing right now? What is in there for me? They don't think about the next generation that's coming. Oh, now look at Morocco. They have 9 world-class stadiums. The children that are yet to be born right now will still play in those facilities.
And enjoy it.
They will enjoy it.
All right.
They won't even remember. And these people that have built this thing might have been,
They would have gone.
By then they would have gone.
Just like South Africa. South Africa in 2010. Most of the stadiums are still there today. In fact, South Africa can host another World Cup.
Now imagine.
Okay.
So if you look at this thing and you equate it with other top African nations who are supposed to be in this position and are not in this position, who caused it? Those people that are in charge, who are supposed to facilitate all this development, they are not doing what they're supposed to.
Pelumi, do you agree with Olamide, and do you feel like maybe in 10 years or 12 years time, Morocco can actually host the World Cup?
Yeah, well, I think we would all generally agree that Morocco's target is not even this Afcon.
Yeah.
Everything they've been doing
I think so.
the World Cup
I think so.
in 2030. Yeah, and we have been seeing all of this even before this particular Afcon. They hosted the Afcon. They hosted the last Afcon. They're going to be hosting the next Afcon as well. They're going to be hosting the Under-17 Women's World Cup for 5 consecutive times.
Imagine.
So it shows that these people already have the facilities, the infrastructure is definitely there. Just like Olamide said and yourself, look at the buildings, the structure that they have put in place. No doubt about that. They've actually spent a whole lot of money. They've invested a whole lot in this particular competition, and hopefully it gets to yield in terms of the team winning something, because they have not won anything tangible, both the male and women's team, except for the under 20 who won the World Cup. I'm talking about the senior team right now. But then, unfortunately, one major concern is that all of this infrastructure and all of these put in place by Morocco have not really translated in us getting massive crowd at this particular Afcon. One major low point of this Afcon is the low turnout of people. You could see the stadium practically empty. I could remember one of the games, I think Egypt, Zimbabwe. They had to practically throw the gates open for free for people to enter, and that is one of the games that we have recorded the highest number of crowd, except the Morocco against Comoros game. Yeah. And in fact, if you want to put side by side with the game, with the last tournament in Ivory Coast, after first round of games, I think it is just 2,000 or 1,000 more than the numbers that we saw at the last Afcon, which I believe it is not really good enough. But I don't know whose responsibility it is to mobilize people. Is it the responsibility of CAF? Is it the responsibility of the LOC, talking about the hosting nation, to make sure that people get to turn up? Or it could also be the quality of the games. I think there was not really any top quality game in the first round. I think the biggest game would be like maybe Cameroon against Gabon that we saw yesterday night. That is like what we can call the biggest game in terms of the pedigree of the two teams. Yeah. But maybe as round 2 comes, we will still be saying the major teams going up against each other. Maybe we could see still the stadium filled. But for now, yes, the infrastructure, top notch, the resources, everything, organization, really good enough. But then people still need to turn out. That is the kind of promotion that we need for African football.
Absolutely. Let me stick with you. Now, we've seen the Afcon Matchweek 1 proper. We've seen games. There's no bogey team. There might be a bogey team. There's no small team, just like Olamide has mentioned. We've seen the goalkeepers. We've seen 2 penalties stopped, including one in the opening game where the Comoros goalkeeper denied Sofiane Raimi of Morocco. And we've seen beautiful goals. We've seen like Foster's goal, Ayub El-Kabi's goal. Which of these games, you can say have managed, to stand out for you out of all of these games that we've seen so far? Cameroon also getting a win. We saw Hannibal Mejbri and also Achuri. That's the man you have on your screen for Tunisia. Achuri has 2 goals. Riyad Mahrez has 2 goals. Nicholas Jackson also, your best friend, also having 2 goals. I mean, now we are now seeing the race for the Golden Boots. And there are some other names that I'm sure will still pop up. We saw the goals from Omar Mamouche as well. I mean, it's been fantastic. The game against, for me personally, the game against between South Africa and Angola, I would say, has been, let me say, I can call it the game of the tournament so far. Cameroon also against Gabon. Look at the way Cameroon came out, playing something like what we call on the streets, around ball. What would you say has been your best game so far for you from Matchweek 1?
Yeah, well, for me, out of all of the 12 games played, trust me, all of those games have been spectacular. Like you said, we have seen fantastic performances, individual brilliances, we have seen top-notch goalkeeper saves, we have seen very good goals as well. But for me, I think the game that would stand out was the game yesterday between Equatorial Guinea and Burkina Faso. That game for me was big. As at the 86th minute, the game was still goalless. Burkina Faso, despite getting a red card in that game, they still scored first.
Yes.
Equatorial Guinea, rather.
Equatorial Guinea scored first against Burkina Faso, yes.
Yes. Yeah, of course, they still scored first in the 85th minute. Then when it looked like they were going to be running away with all 3 points, despite playing with 1 man down, then Burkina Faso scored in the 96th minute, and in the 98th minute, Edmond Tapsoba scoring the winning goal for Burkina Faso. That, I don't think anyone would have seen that game producing 3 goals after playing over 84 minutes goalless in that one. So for me, I think that was like the game of the first round without taking anything away from the previous game that were played as well.
Yes, also the game between Egypt's game as well, where they fell to Zimbabwe's goal despite dominating that game from the first minute. But thank God, Zimbabwe almost giving an upset or a scare there. But the big men, stood up. And do you think Nicholas Jackson will go on, to pick up the Golden Boots? Looking at the way Senegal play their football quickly.
Well, I think it is early to say. It is too early to say for Nicholas Jackson. I think he practically capitalized on the ineffectiveness of their opponents. It was Botswana. Botswana were very, very poor in that game, and Senegal punished them. So I think Senegal are not going to be facing this type of game. I think their next game is against DR Congo, which is a very difficult one. I don't expect him to be getting brave in every game. I think some other players are still definitely going to turn up in that one. So I think it's a great start for him, but then I see him going on to win the Golden Boot.
Absolutely. Olamide, quickly before we, let's wrap this up. Let's look at the games. Pelumi has mentioned Senegal against DR Congo. That's one of the games of Matchweek 2. Nigeria will be up against Tunisia. It's like the big teams are squaring up against each other. Now, I like that. It's usually in tournaments, games like this are usually at the last games of the group stage. Egypt is taking on South Africa. Cameroon is taking on Cote d'Ivoire. We are seeing big games. Morocco is taking on Mali. Which of these games do you think will be the toughest? And which of these teams do you think will pick up a win and qualify for the round of 16 almost immediately?
Well, number one, I would say Nigeria-Tunisia would be a very tough game because it's a must-win for both sides. And most especially Nigeria.
Exactly.
And we've talked about Osimhen today.
Yeah.
Osimhen needs to step up to the plate. He needs to. With, let's say, 1 or 2 goals. Even 2 goals would not even... 2 goals would be very, very... other players have been scoring, other strikers, banging in the goals. Mohamed Salah, Omar Mamouche. People will be expect to come to the party and do what they ought to do. Yeah. And he's also there as well. He has been below par a little bit in the last game. So he needs to come there, come to the party, banging all the goals, get the accolades, be in the front.
Do you think Tunisia will be that team he can do that? Where Victor Osimhen can do that?
It won't be easy for Nigeria at all. It won't be easy at all. But Nigeria just need to go out there and just get the job done. Even in last Afcon, it's not as if Nigeria was that fantastic. But we're just able to.
But we don't have the coach. You don't have the coach that negotiated that one for us. He's now a coach that's supposed to be more attacking.
But we have players. Because at the end of the day, no matter even what the coach says and all that, you are the player on the pitch. You are,
Right.
you are the one that are supposed to, grind out the result anyhow you want to do it.
All right. He's saying that it should be Nigeria up
Nigeria
against
and
Tunisia,
Yes.
but I'm seeing other games like Egypt up against South Africa. That would be a very, very good one to watch. Let's move on quickly and let's talk about CAF. Also, still sticking with Afcon, but this time around, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, they've launched a new annual competition called the African Nations League. This league aims to provide a consistent world-class platform for senior national teams to compete, giving African players greater exposure and opportunities to showcase their talents. And according to CAF, the initiative will strengthen African football by fostering competitive matches, promoting player development, and increasing fan engagement across the continent. And it will be held every year, just like the Europeans are ensuring a regular high-level football for both players and supporters. CAF President Patrice Motsepe emphasized the organization's commitment to elevating African football globally and creating sustainable opportunities for players, teams, and national associations. And this move is part of CAF efforts to develop and promote African football. Pelumi, quickly, what is your idea? Quickly, when you saw this news, what came to your mind? Good? Or please shift it and let's think about something else.
Yeah, honestly, it's top note for me. I completely agree with her in this one. To actually put this one ahead, I've always been an advocate of more competitive matches for African nations. I think we don't play enough of competitive. It's more about the friendlies and maybe qualifiers, and that is why we are not even able to compete with the big countries, maybe in Europe or in other continents. Look at the last World Cup. Aside Morocco that made it to the semi-finals, look at the performance of the other African teams. Yeah. They performed woefully in that tournament. Before Morocco did that, look at the last time an African nation did well at the World Cup. You go as far back as Ghana in the 2010 World Cup.
Senegal.
Yeah, so Senegal as well. Yeah, so African nations don't really do well because we don't get to compete enough. It's more of friendlies and unimportant games. And looking at friendlies, how many coaches take friendlies serious? That's why you see them inviting French players. You see them using players that are not important. Some players do not even want to know it. Some important players do not even want to know it. Some people might target as us copying Europe with the UEFA Nations League. But I think there's a reason why they brought in the UEFA Nations League. They want to stop all of these friendlies like England playing, San Marino playing, Andorra, all of those things. Now, you can see the competitiveness in the UEFA Nations League. We are even seeing them relegated. We are seeing England against Portugal. We are seeing Spain against Germany.
Yes.
Kind of thing that we need in African football as well. Let us play more competitive games. Let us see more of Nigeria against Egypt. Let us see more of Senegal against Ivory Coast. Not only when it gets to the Afcon round of 16 or round of quarterfinals, semi-finals, that we see games like this. Look at the qualifiers. Even the Afcon or World Cup qualifiers, they don't even pitch these big teams against one another. So we are not really able to test our strength against the big boys. But with this Nations League now, maybe we could see a lot of competitions that might help promote African football a lot more. So I completely agree with this particular initiative by CAF.
All right, Palumi, good one there. Olamide, let me come to you. We've had this discussion, sometimes before, and yes, it will interest you to know that there are 54 African nations today, according to the United Nations, and we have 44 in Europe. I mean,
44 in Europe.
Yeah, 44 countries in Europe, and we have 54 in Africa. Now, when you look at the way the UEFA Nations League is run, you would think they have a lot more than what they're actually putting out. When you see the likes of the big boys in the League A and the League B, the France, the England, Germany, where you see the likes of Lithuania, Kosovo, and all of that. But there are only 44. But what UEFA has done is to give everybody a level playing ground. You can play your football, and this time around, it's not more of friendly games when the international break is upon us. It is more like a league. Okay. You are winning something. It's a trophy, recognized by UEFA and FIFA. Do you think Africa is making a right step in that direction as well? Because we also, I mentioned something to you when I said the likes of maybe Djibouti, Eritrea, the teams that I don't want to call them less privileged now, Lesotho and all of that, they will have this incentive. Do you know that when you bring your best team forward and you play games, you have the incentive, you can win something. Imagine Lesotho being the first team to win the African Nations League. That would be very big for them. They can get money to improve their stadiums. They won't be having excuses of building stadiums. Do you think Africa is making a good step in that one, or do you have something against that?
Yeah, of course, Africa is making a good step in that direction. But just like the discussion we had that day, I always say something that why is it that we always wait for other people outside to make some step, then we now copy,
make ours.
we copy everything. We don't even try to innovate it. We didn't even try to call it another thing entirely. UEFA Nations League, Africa Nations League. Why is it always like that? It's not bad.
There is Nations League.
See,
South America also, they are also trying to propose something like that.
I'm not saying it is bad entirely.
I don't know
very, very
what to call it.
It's okay for African football, but it says a lot about the what would I say? Is it the innovative mindset of the leaders of the African football entirely?
Yeah.
Because if they can't sit down themselves and come up with ideas that the other people outside there would copy, instead of us having to. I even said to you that day that what if this idea is not even their own original idea? What if it is someone outside that sold this idea to them, like, guys, why can't you guys do this?
I think that's the job of CAF. They will be seeing the UEFA Nations League. And even before CAF is proposing this African Nations League, there's also the CONCACAF Nations League that is running, where you have the likes of the USA, the Trinidad, the Curaçao, Haiti. Now, Curaçao came up from there, and now they've qualified for the World Cup.
Yeah.
So definitely we can see a team that will also build themselves. And look at the Afcon now. If you agree with me on something, this Afcon recently, starting from that 2023, is now showcasing African teams that are able to lure players that were born abroad. They are now coming home to Africa to come and play. We are seeing the likes of Brandon Galloway, who originally English, born in England, came up through the Everton youth system. Now he's playing for Zimbabwe. We saw the likes of Stephen Colker play for Sierra Leone, also back in the day. So it can also happen. It's all about improving African teams that that are not having the privilege like the big boys. And just like Pelumi said, we'll be seeing big boys facing off against each other.
Exactly. That's why I said now that it is not entirely bad. But I think it's even long overdue. Should have started this thing long before. We have more teams. We have more countries.
Yeah, 54.
But if you look at all these countries, where are those facilities? It's not evenly distributed.
This will be an opportunity for them.
I understand it will be an opportunity for them. But that's what I'm saying. The development of the continent first, it says a lot about bringing in all these competitions. Because when you say, okay, you want to bring in competition, do you have what the other people have that the competition is standing on? Do you have what it takes behind the scene to do all these things? Even look at the Afcon we're talking about now. We're talking about the low turnout, other things. The facilities are there, but they are in the big nations. They are in like Morocco, South Africa. Even Nigeria, we can't say we have these world-class stadiums. We can't say it. But when you have
we
so
don't.
It means like for the first 10 editions, it will just be, let's say, only Morocco will host it.
Yeah. So
it says a lot about how prepared CAF is, even on its own, and all the African leaders when it comes to sport. It says a lot about how prepared they are. Well, because I don't see that they are prepared. Honestly.
No, but for them to announce it, I think they'll be making some steps in the background.
So do you announce then prepare, or you prepare then announce?
They are already making some preparations. If they are not making some preparations,
but it's a good one though. It's a good one though, because even for, let's say, the home-based players now that don't really have an opportunity to, most of our coaches don't really want to select them. It would give them more opportunity to, even if they don't feature so much in the Afcon, they can do the Nations League. They have more other opportunity to showcase themselves, their talent to the world. So it's a good one though.
Also, Pelumi, quickly, they've also announced that the Afcon, I think from 2028, is now going to be a 4-year tournament this time around, just like UEFA again. I think Olamide will be saying that again, you are trying to copy Europe and all of that. Is that one also another major step? Case in point, if you give a team like, let's say, Nigeria now, that, okay, you are going to host in 2032, that will give you a 4-year window to be able to provide standard stadiums and not give excuses, don't you think?
Okay, well, before I speak about the 4-year Afcon cycle, I think we are going to hold you if the African, because they are the one vouching out that preparation is already ongoing. Don't worry, we are going to hold it.
I don't think Mosepe will come out. I don't think Mosepe will come out and say that, yes, we will be having Nations League without something in the background.
Yeah, well, but it's a good one. But I really just hope that it does not end up like the African Football League that they developed for club side. That after one edition, we didn't see anything again. So hopefully it does not end that way. Now, speaking about the 4-year Afcon cycle, for me, I think it's also very good. It is laudable. I think enough of having us playing the Afcon after every 2 years. I think it kind of reduces the glamour and the preparation, the anticipation for that particular tournament. We had one Afcon in 2021, another in 2023. Now we are seeing another one that will span until 2026, and another one would happen in 2027 again. For me, I think it is completely unnecessary. But then what I'm looking at in this particular one is there's a big tendency that the 2027 Afcon 28, then we start the 4-year cycle. Because I don't think it makes any sense to have an Afcon in 2027, then have another one in 2028 again. I think it's completely unnecessary to have Afcon back to back like that. But the most important thing is, are we still going to be playing it in this particular time of the season, or is it going to be coming in the summer?
That is the major question. That is what CAF has not said.
Exactly. So I think it's one thing. Although they have said 2027 Afcon would happen in June, July, that would be when the season is on break. But we know what happened before the last Afcon. Ivory Coast Afcon, we were supposed to have it in the summer. Then because of weather issues, they took it away from that particular time. They brought it to January, February.
Yes.
So I think the timing is also important away from the year. So having it every 4 years, I think is really good. It will make us build the anticipation towards having this particular tournament. It would even make players more focused. They'll be like, oh, if I miss out on this one, the next time is going to be in the next 4 years.
Yes.
Imagine Victor Osimhen performing very well now, and is nearing 30. We know that the next Afcon is in 4 years.
Yeah.
Know that there are not a lot of opportunities to actually do very well in the next, or even make the team. So I think it builds the excitement, makes the player a lot more prepared, and enhance more seriousness. So for me, I think it's another laudable initiative by CAF.
Yes, I also told Olamide that it's to encourage teams, especially teams in the Premier League, to actually sign more African players, because this time around you have to be losing them every year. You can sign your player and say, okay, 4 years at least. When it goes for this one, is in the next 4 years, and by the time the next tournament goes around, he might not even be your player anymore. So you don't have any excuse to give. Because trust me, a lot of teams are really against buying African players now, just because of this Afcon. Manchester City, well, you can say that there's depth in the squad. O'Reilly is the one starting as the left back. Ryan Itinere, that's supposed to be his backup, is now playing for Algeria. What if there's an injury to O'Reilly? What's going to happen? I think also they are trying to sign Antoine Semenyo, just because Omar Mamouche, also that's supposed to be a backup to Erling Haaland, is also at the Afcon. What if they assign Semenyo and Ghana qualified also for the Afcon? So for me, I think the 4 years plan, if it doesn't end up like the Africa Football League, just like you mentioned, I think is a good plan. And let's move on quickly now. Let's talk about, let's come back home. Let's go back to Nigeria. And the National Sports Commission, NSC, yes, they've confirmed that the rewards promised by President Bola Tinubu to the Super Falcons and the Tigers, that's the basketball team, are ready for collection. And the rewards include the houses, national honors, and cash awards of $100,000 each for the Super Falcons players and the D-Tigers team members, and the Super Falcons, who won the 10th Women's Africa Cup of Nations title in Morocco earlier this year. Morocco again hosting another tournament, and they just hosted that one. And while the D-Tigers won a 5th consecutive Women's Afro Basket title in August, and the NSC chairman, Shehu Diko, presented the Super Falcons Super Eagles, certificates for national honors and title documents, the housing allocation. He did all of that. We took that yesterday. Kizzy was here to talk about that. And now we are talking about the rewards for the Super Falcons. Olamide, quickly, time is running out when you have fun, and we have to go. But quickly, it was almost looking like audio money. It was almost looking like it, because you remember Pelumi Rashida Ajibade coming out to say, we have not seen the money. What is going on? Olamide, do you think it's a good time and a perfect Christmas gift for the Falcons and the Tigers?
Well, when someone promised to give you something,
I think I know where you are going, but go ahead.
See, when someone promised to give you something,
yes,
they didn't tell you that I'm going to give you immediately, or next week, next month, next.
Believe me, you are hearing this man.
See, it was a promise. It's not as if they were owing them money or something. I think they paid them their what they're supposed to pay them. I think so. So all these $100,000 and the likes.
That's told me my mind is supposed to be there.
Your mind will be there, but I didn't give you time. So I think that is a little bit. It has a sprinkle of politics in it.
Yeah.
Because there's no time, okay, we are giving you this thing tomorrow, next tomorrow. Anytime they give you, you just have to take it and appreciate it.
So what if they give them in the next 10 years where they've already forgotten that, or maybe
they've done that to ex-players. They've done that, so it is not alien to Nigeria football. That's just it.
All right, what do you think of that?
Olamide must be a politician. He already knows all of that.
He already knows. He already knows what is going on.
Yes, of course. You can say that, okay, you promised them and they deserve to get it. But we should also remember that in times past, it takes about 20 or 30 years for these players to get rewarded for some things like this. I could remember it was until last year that the governor of Oyo State rewarded the players who won the CAF Champions League for shooting stars as far back as 1980. He just rewarded them somewhere around last year. Even most of them, or not most of them, some of them are even no more. So you have to give them these things when it is due, when they will appreciate it, when they will value it, and I'm glad that this one is also happening at this particular point in time. I think this is the difference between having a sports commission and having a ministry for sport. A sports ministry will be run by a politician, and you know how all of these things happen. But then the sports commission is the sports administrator in charge. They know how to go about these things. I think this is one of the places where we would appreciate having a national sports commission rather than having a ministry of sport.
That nice one. Just like you said, Pelumi, and I want Olamide to listen again. That you have to pay when it's due, when they can appreciate what you are giving, not when they are holding up. And it's our children that are collecting it. It's not pension. It's what you agree to give them, right?
Of course, but this is the reality on ground.
That's what I said.
It's the reality. And there's no catching.
Right, we have to wrap up on the show, but quickly, let's take this one. It's been a fantastic year for sports, Olamide, and there are different moments. Some happy ones and, of course, the sad ones, just like I said earlier on the show. But let's quickly take some just as we wrap up on the show. And I want to start with Pelumi. Pelumi, we saw Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool. Will you say Paris Saint-Germain, they are just the best team in the world, not even in Europe? I know Chelsea won the Club World Cup, but will you say Paris Saint-Germain are the best team in the world for this year? And also Ousmane Dembele, winning the Ballon d'Or and also the FIFA The Best award. Last year, 2024, it was Rodri picking up the Ballon d'Or and FIFA The Best going to Vinicius Junior. A lot of people almost forgot that he even won that award. Now, Ousmane Dembele and also Paris Saint-Germain and Luis Enrique, what a year has been for them, don't you think? Are you with me, Pelumi?
Yeah, I think, yes, I'm with you. I think this year was about Paris Saint-Germain. They won almost everything aside the FIFA Club World Cup. And you can see all of their players even benefiting from that one. The rest of their players making the Ballon d'Or list, making the FIFA Pro 11, and all of this due to the fact that they changed the directive of their season. And it started in January 2025. So I think for me, it has to be Paris Saint-Germain and Ousmane Dembele. But for me, I think the biggest moment of 2025 has to be Lando Norris winning the Formula One championship.
Wow, that one, personally, I'm going to argue with you on that one because I wanted Max Verstappen, to be honest with you. That comeback would have been immense. That comeback would have been fantastic. And also, let me give a shout out to the Kenyans too, and also Mondo Duplantis for what they did at the World Championships. And Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz are also building a sort of Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer region.
Yes. I think we are definitely up for it. The two guys sharing the 4 Grand Slams between themselves, and this is definitely a reincarnation of Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer.
Oh, absolutely. And Olamide, on a rather sad note, we saw Diogo Jota of Liverpool, losing his life in that car crash as well with his brother, and also Marcus player Ethan McLeod also tragically killed. Well, may their souls rest in peace. And would you say that Diogo Jota is really this absence is affecting the Liverpool squad at the minute, because even with their big signings, they don't seem to be doing well. A lot happens off the pitch. Football is not just what we see on the pitch. Also, it can deal with them psychologically and mentally. What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say yes. The loss would affect the team. Having to start thinking of signing another player. It's not as if Diogo Jota maybe left the team to another team.
He wasn't transferred. He lost his life. Yeah.
So it will affect them, but having to say that that is what is leading, what's making Liverpool to be in this position in the league table right now. I would say there's no connection, there's no relationship between.
Are you serious?
Yes, exactly.
I'd like Mo Salah still saying that he still misses him.
See, life happens. Life happens. Normally, we have to move on. But if you look at it, when they won their first 5 games, nobody was talking about.
But they were not winning well. Like they were not playing the best of football.
When they were playing and they were getting those late minute goals.
Nobody mentioned
the ESPN was like, stuff of champions. They have to win it anyhow.
Okay.
They were winning then, unbeaten. Everyone was happy. What they was talking about, the good stuff. But why is it that right now that they are not doing so well, the media is trying to, make us feel like after 17 games, you are still thinking about.
The same person.
I'm not saying it won't be sad for them to lose such player. But you've gotten other players. You've gotten Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak, world-class footballers.
I agree with you. I think it's actually time to move on. I remember my dad also telling me recently. He told me that Manchester United's form, that they are not on form because the Queen of England died how many years ago, and they are still not playing well. This is what we'll be wrapping up on the show today, Sports Republic, and yes, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much, Pelumi Adeosun, for joining me, and also a big thank you also to Olamide. It's been a fantastic one, and of course, I'll say Merry Christmas. The Christmas edition of Sports Republic, yes, it's just ended, and it's been a fantastic ride with you.